Interestingly enough, even though there are job opportunities, the traffic that would accumulate in that area would have been crazy, I guess. So Columbia, you said now has it. So
Columbia now has it. And when I think this discussion started when I was chair and continued while Victor's been chair, the position of the community board has always been that we would like to see a supermarket reopen there. It is one of the things that people will stop in the street to talk to about. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's strange, but they're,
Yeah, I mean,
especially fresh.
maybe the area.
Mm-hmm. Especially fresh foods.
Yeah, I would've, I'm sorry,
Feels that.
I can't see, so I'm sorry if I interrupted somebody. It seems like there would be a need to have a supermarket over there because the nearest one would be quite far for those people residing on that area, correct?
Like, yeah, like Broadway and 146, there's a, what's that?
well, hold on, because there's Seatown right there on Broadway
Yeah.
133rd. There's another one on 125th in Amsterdam, or between Amsterdam and Old Broadway. And there's on kind of by the library. You know this, yeah. And then the Morningside folks have both West Side Market and Morton Williams. But yes, but nothing was the
Nothing
size
like
of
Fairway.
Fairway.
That's what I was
Right,
about to ask.
Fairway was a different
They had
category.
diversity and just, yeah,
Yes,
Google stuff.
right. And so everything stuff.
Yeah.
They had a walk-in meat
Oh, right.
room
The whole, yeah.
with cheap, like a walk-in cold.
Yeah, a freezer.
Yeah.
walk-in
And they have those
freezer.
parkas,
They have
the parkas that you could put on.
Oh,
yeah.
really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Going forward.
Because see, that wasn't. Well, I'm here longer than anybody, but let me go back. Cause see that 125 bus that used to be the 19,
Mhm.
that bus used to go all the way to 135th and end. They didn't end here aside, so they went all the way up where the supermarkets were and they ended up there and then they turned around and came back. They should be required to do that again. That's number one. I don't care what
Yeah, for
business you put up
business,
there. They should be required to not park all over 125th Street. They need to go up there and park where they originally was scheduled to park. That's for those of us who was here for that, okay? In terms
Some of us
of,
were here for it and have already forgotten.
no, I mean, because it's not that many people. It's been quite some time, I noticed, since they don't go up there where they're supposed to be all the time. So they're all in front of 125th Street and you can't get around Columbia and all kind of silliness. That would encourage business at whatever that supermarket is there too. And the taxis used to go up there and pick up the people as well. So,
Well, and you had a lot of people coming in from Jersey or the Bronx or downtown off the
oh,
highway.
that's not my transfer station. Wait a minute, we ain't get there yet.
No,
They'll
yeah,
be coming big time when I finish that one.
But the point was, the community has pretty overwhelmingly said that they want
Yes.
a supermarket back.
Oh.
And Columbia has been very amenable to that ask. We're like, listen, just rent it out as a supermarket. You didn't want to own this thing. We don't really want you owning it. Like, we certainly don't want you developing it into something else.
Right.
It's also not a good development site because it's under the highway. So you can't really build.
Yeah,
up
Okay,
on it.
no, they
That's-
can't
that's
go up and
true.
they can't build across. And according to what I remember the plan being, the students' dormitory is gonna be right in front of that supermarket.
No.
They moved it
Uh,
from the plan I have that they signed off on.
no, the housing is on Broadway. You can't have housing there, I think, because of the floodplain.
I do, okay, I'll look at, because I got my paperwork
Yeah.
too on it. But that student was supposed to be right on that, directly across from, on this side is where they were supposed to be putting the student dormitory of the Manhattanville campus of Columbia.
Hmm.
On papers I got signed off on, that's where it's supposed to be.
But
Okay,
regardless, I think we would like a supermarket there still.
yeah.
There was a lot of discussion in the court senator meetings because there was an urge that land should instead be used for affordable housing. Until Victor and I reminded everyone that that is, again, below a highway and in a floodplain and not an appropriate place for anyone to live.
exactly.
And you also can't build, like,
As soon as Amtrak, anyway.
right, Amtrak is also supposed to open a train station, well, Metro North, MTA Amtrak. is supposed
Yeah,
to open a
because
train
their station was at 125th Street all
Right,
along.
and it's-
It opened up and you went right in.
So part of Penn Access Phase 2 is that they're supposed to return a train station to 12th Avenue
Right.
when the Metro North trains are routed
Okay, so
over.
that, yeah.
Yeah, there
So,
was some article about why they needed to expand. I'm not sure if that was in it. I didn't get a chance to read it, but it was a big headline, why Penn Station
it's
needs more.
complicated. There was a study, they were gonna either do this side first or the east side. The east side was picked for a number of reasons, many of which had to do with the electrical lines being the correct grade, I don't know, whatever it is. The frequency, voltage. Anyway, so they also need to redo that, Spike and Dival swing bridge.
So
Um,
now, oh, I'm sorry, Barbara, okay. So now, since we still, it sounds like we in the community want to still see food, at least one on the scale of Fairway. I won't say like the sea towns that I've seen here. The one that comes closest would be at 145th and 8th Avenue. I think that's well, it used to be a pathway. It's got another name now, Super something.
Oh,
But
Yeah,
there's
super food town.
Yes, yeah, okay, right. Now that was pretty big, but still not as big and with the variety that Fairway has. But it's not a bad one though, but it's still, we need something more.
Fairway is a weird mix between a regular supermarket and a Costco. But
Yeah.
it wasn't so much that, they actually did sell a lot of stuff in bulk. But it was just the sheer enormity of the place was pretty
Because you
interesting.
can find so much in the food prep or getting some, if you have a taste for something you need, then, or the same, you can get it there. So I would like to know if we're still pursuing our game for pursuing that and what.
Well, but we had to make it very clear that that property was not suitable for development.
Right.
It's not, it's under a highway and a train track, you can only build but so high before you're touching the highway.
Exactly.
So what do we do to propose that now or?
As I understand, no, as I understand it, Columbia has put out an RFP for interested supermarkets who would wanna open a location there. There is some consternation about the number of buildings department violations on the site currently and who's gonna cure that exactly, so that's where it is.
Think Fairway would come back or were there too bruised, maybe?
Well, there is no Fairway anymore.
I know, that's why I said come back. Do you think they would
Oh, two burgers,
come back?
maybe something else, maybe.
Not Fairway, but you're talking
Trader
about
Joe's?
supermarket, not Fairway specifically, but.
Well, actually,
Lots.
supermarket, yes, and then I was specifically saying, because they know the business.
No, but that Fairway is dead.
Fairway's not.
Meaning the Fairway that knew the business and that ran that store, the people are gone, they've been scattered to the winds. But so the community board in the 1990s published a report with We Act for environmental justice about the 12th Avenue corridor called Harlem on the River.
That's,
No, that was the one we didn't like. Harlem on the River was ours. Harlem on the Hudson's was
what's his name?
Was-
Yeah.
HUDC's. And one of the anchor of economic development in that proposal was Fairway, and the board, including you, that report has a lovely photo of you and Peggy with your arms around, I can't remember the guy's name who owned
I wanna
Fairway.
know the gist.
Yeah.
Down in the water.
Down on the water,
Yeah.
yeah, and so, Fairway had local hiring commitments. They paid a good wage. Workers were fairly happy working there, and so there was a desire to see more of that type of economic development on 12th Avenue. And so I think that we would want something
How
similar.
did they go this way? I just don't know how they went out of business. Fairway, maybe because
I'll
I
tell you
stopped
how they went out of
shopping
business. They sold to a private equity group, so the family cashed out, although some of the family who didn't want to cash out remained at the company. And then they went public. And then they attempted to expand into the suburbs, and so they opened a bunch of new stores that weren't working and they lost a lot of money and they went bankrupt.
Yeah, okay.
But there is a fairway still on, there are two still on Broadway.
But they're not operated by Fairway, they're operated by, it's like Dwayne Reed, right? Like, those are all laws, really,
Yeah,
but they kept the name because it's a New York thing.
And it was known, the name was known.
So, anyway. All that to say, we got over that hill on Fairway. And so. The senator's office asked the various participants to draw up a list of things that they would like to see Columbia do in and for and with the community. And so at our May meeting, and subsequently, when, we asked all of the chairs, committee chairs to submit their wish list, this is what was drafted up. In terms of what we are seeking.
so we would present this to city council, to Sean Abreu.
Not so much, so that expansion was so convoluted, because it did involve the city. What was the city? The city had to rezone it. Right? Columbia could have acquired the property through eminent domain or otherwise, but they still would have only been able to build manufacturing and industrial there, which is why they needed the city to do the Manhattanville Special Use Mixed District rezoning. So they used the state to get eminent domain, and they used the city to change the zoning to allow them to build university buildings, basically.
Oh, okay, now we just, there for a minute.
But they have their rezoning, and this bill wouldn't change that. So what really this bill, what really this whole effort is, and it's mostly through the state electeds, is to strongly encourage both the Empire State Development Corporation, which still is in the process of acquiring and transferring some of these properties in the area. It's being done in phases. And Columbia to reimagine the ways in which we treat both this project and Columbia's responsibilities to the community, et cetera, et cetera. As an example, in the CBA, Columbia committed to widen the escalators at 125th Street. Well, that's nice, but
Still can't get up with a walker.
with a walker, with a stroller, with a wheelchair.
Still not reaching the train.
Exactly.
Hello,
And so,
Exactly.
but they could open the bathrooms there, but that's another story.
well, but again, this benefits Columbia as much as it benefits everyone else, maybe more because of their
That was the Annie
campus.
McDonald's thing,
Right.
they off to the train.
That was what I said, but whatever. Anyway,
The escalators don't take you to the train, so what's the purpose?
So we've got a whole elevator lobby quote group advocating for that with Columbia. Of course, all of this was disrupted when Manoush Shafiq decided she'd had enough of all this craziness and got a job with the UK government and left.
Oh, God.
She was the president of Columbia for a year.
That's the one I know.
I didn't know
Dan,
what she
I
had
knew
done.
him.
Hollinger,
Yeah, I knew him personally, better than him, but I don't know who this woman is, so go ahead,
Stent, you could know that guy personally, but,
watch it.
but yeah, so she was very receptive, I would say, when we were
Very,
meeting with her.
very
She-
community minded, what you said.
Very community minded, very invested in partnership, very willing to challenge the internal fiefdoms at that university who are committed to doing business a certain way that is not great for the community. And so I was very sad to see her go.
Oh, okay. That's interesting to know. Sorry, I had to interject.
See,
Yeah.
that's the only one, I didn't know at all.
We were both sorry to see her go after meeting with her several times and just feeling a sense of community with her.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the news came out one night, I know I saw it, and I put it on CB9 Connects, well, into the internal,
Right person, wrong time.
chat room.
Right.
Right
Well,
person at the wrong
And a lot of people are like, another Ivy League president down. I'm like, she didn't get fired. She got sick of it and left.
Okay,
She
so
got a
she
job.
left. Okay,
Threats and all.
New government in the UK,
Yeah,
happy to have her
had
back.
two Ds that stepped down and then wrote horrible things, that was before she stepped down.
Yeah.
But, she was facing a lot of mess. But
She-
sometimes you have to go through that.
Right, well, and I think her family was under, they were getting death threats and all sorts of crazy stuff. And she was like,
Oh,
this isn't
wow.
what I signed up for.
wow, exactly. They're not paying her that much to take that, so.
Oh,
Well, and she's like a baroness, she's
Oh,
not
was
in it
she?
for money. Yeah,
Boy, Barry, you know everything.
I mean,
it's like, oh, there's nothing here, I didn't know it, didn't know it
That was really
existed.
fun, this information.
I mean, like, these were, we met with her a bunch, like, which I never met with Bollinger. You ever meet with Bollinger? Yeah, there we go. I went to that damn place.
And see,
I-
I never.
well, I never-
Whoever the other person come in, we really
Yeah, I
did
never
like-
met with Bolton. I never met with him either, and I attended all 8 years or 6 years, so.
And, what's the.
Well, you always had someone
down in
representing
Washington,
him.
Peggy Shepherd.
Peggy,
Yeah, we,
Yeah, it was Peggy Bollinger, that, she was all up here, then she wasn't in Washington then, and the other guy that just left that was with us for so long, and Cecil, who was on the board, I mean, those are people I remember.
in recent years, he didn't come.
so
I've been there 12 years, he's never come to.
Which
no,
one?
he came once,
Oh.
spoke and left
Oh,
without
Bollinger
meeting with
no.
us.
Right.
Oh, boy.
He went to a big meeting in
I thought he
Harlem
was
at
kind of up with
Sylvia's
that.
when, the Manhattan bill was being discussed. That
sure.
was a huge
But once,
meeting, and
once
he
they
was
got,
Presenting that plan.
once everything was signed, who saw him after that?
Mm.
No, that stuff was signed in like, what,
Well, he would have
2009,
the
12?
community breakfast event.
Everybody that was signed in was gone, all those people that Bollinger and the child that went to, the tall woman that was there, she was very influential.
Maxine,
Yes.
or
Maxine.
Maxine Griffith.
Maxine Griffith, or even Marcia Sells.
All the time.
Marcia Sells was tall. Maxine wasn't that tall.
Right.
Anyway,
Marcia briefly went up to Harvard, she's back here now, well, she's with Lincoln Center, head of,
No,
one of
she
the
left.
divisions she left Lincoln Center? She's definitely at Lincoln Center in the last, year, I'm not sure, I think she's still there.
no, I think she left. Oh, no, you're right, no, she left. Where did she
Lincoln Center,
go?
oh, wow. Okay,
She's on a book tour now. Oh, no, she left to join Russell Philanthropies, which is a philanthropy consulting firm.
wow,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
So she still lives here though, I
Mhm,
think.
mhm,
I see her sometimes on Common,
mhm.
but,
Who is that?
Marcia Lynn Sells,
Oh, okay.
she's had a very long and varied career. She was a professional ballet dancer.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
States in Ohio.
was she from Dayton?
Yeah, she's from Dayton, my
Huh,
hometown, good friends with
wait,
our family.
Lois is from Dayton, right?
Which Lois?
Penny?
Yes, she is. I met her mother there. Yes, yes. She's from
Okay.
Dayton also.
Yeah, and Ray McGuire, oh, she's from Dayton.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, so at least there's a next possible step. Now, where does,
well, so the new president is Katrina Armstrong from the
acting,
medical
right?
center. Yeah, acting, but Columbia, they always leave their acting people in there. They do. They do it with their deans, they do it with their higher ups, they do it with the president, I assume. But she comes from the CUMC, the medical center.
Mhm.
And so we have yet to meet her or establish any sort of relationship, I would say.
Yeah, we also lost Shayla Murray.
I had kind of heard that.
She was, what was that exact title? She was over Lofton and BBO's.
She was the new Maxine.
Ah, okay. Where did she go? You know?
She just left.
Maybe the vibe.
She had,
Paris.
Is Boston still there?
yes, well, the beat still.
Your children have not left you.
Lost in Flowers and Feed Me Shall They All, they're still there.
I've been walking, so, well, never mind. That's how long I've been gone. Good Lord.
I don't know where she is. She might still be at Columbia. No, Franz Pasch,
Is,
Paschi,
is the new person,
yeah.
no position?
He's a lawyer, came from PayPal, he was chief corporate affairs officer, previously with McKinsey, litigator for Paul Weiss Rifkin.
Mackenzie's a little shaky.
Yeah, originally got his start with the legislative team of Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan.
Oh, no, that's good. The Moynihan name.
That's good, yeah. We'll see.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
depends on how deeply he worked with.
Bing bong. Who we got?
Put in on the meeting.
Yes.
Oh,
Hi. Would like to introduce yourself?
I'm not wrong.
Sorry.
I'm not. You remember, I wasn't expecting to stop by.
Well, we're glad you did.
Well, I'm just stopping by because I saw my girl here, Laquita Henry. Laquita. My name is Donna Lewis. I'm from Home Sweet Harlem.
Wonderful. Nice to see you.
Order for ASRC,
Which one?
the order that I put in May that got canceled, postponed,
Your Tasmin?
the scene.
Oh, okay.
Person.
Donna's a long time, many years business, small business owner, she does well, but I don't think it. Well, sitting on the chair, let them know how homes are.
You hosted the small business roundtable that you held.
Pardon me?
You hosted the small business roundtable with SBS that you and Chin held with the Harlem One Stop.
I did?
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
Oh. Okay, I did. I hosted. I thought I was a speaker. No. I'm sorry, this, cinnamon bun is so good from down the street.
Where down the street?
Where?
That is a biscuit company,
What's,
2 blocks down.
the Columbia building?
Yeah, they were
Wow.
closed, but they actually had a kind of semi-stale, cinnamon bun for it. They were so good.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so we have not yet met with the new president. I think we are trying to. I gotta say,
I'll put that request in again.
yeah,
No, she's
Yeah.
getting up to speed.
Yeah.
And maybe it could be like a initial meeting with Victor and Barry, and then bring them to meet the entire
Yeah.
general board, you know.
Well-
Cause I think that's what's, the same thing should happen with City College.
I agree. It's funny because we actually just did all of that last year with the new president.
But they didn't come to the general board. Even if we had a little reset, well. I guess we don't-
she did a couple of
Did it come to the
receptions.
executive board?
Something,
We will, I'm
I'm
sure,
sure, we
yeah.
can work on that.
we
Yeah,
can
I
work
think
with
the
it.
executive board where they would have to meet with all the committee chairs is where I would want them all to be there,
Right.
First step.
right?
yeah, the first step at least meet the
Yeah.
two, and then bring them,
Executive.
so they come more than one time, and just really get a sense of the community.
Agree?
Because I think that would ease some of the hassle with the demonstrations or protests. You know, as communities did get involved in those cases.
Yes. But, so, the reso.
Oh, that's also the ask about Senator Claire.
Yes, so this reso has our most complete list state of the things we would like Columbia to do.
And it touched on talking from all of our committees and things.
Yes,
These are came out of this,
Well, I think-
touches on.
we did it in May. Was when we were drafting this, so I think committee submitted things.
But even if those that didn't, you know, you incorporated.
Yeah.
the full sense of the community.
So I'll go through it, but basically we want them to have something like the Netter Center at Penn that is committed to like consistently working with the community to benefit the community in university activities. So we've got
You
the,
mentioned the Netter Center.
we've got the one,
University of Pennsylvania? Is that what you-
we've got the one train elevators at 125th. We've got a permanent extension of the CBA funding for attorneys representing tenants and HDFCs, which is slated to end in 2030. We've got the school construction, oh God, that school. We want the school that we were promised, right?
Is this replacing-
Ferry service from the West Harlem Piers, which I know Ms. Dunn doesn't care about at all.
Right.
The train
But they did
station,
good thing financially
no, we do, we want the ferries.
and
Yeah.
cultural.
You really believe Ms. Dunn don't care about it at all? Be quiet. Just be quiet.
We want the train station. We want, which, again, who's gonna benefit the most from that? I mean, they'll be able to take a train from there to Penn or from there to Albany or wherever, right? Like, it's their campus that it'll be on the literal front steps of.
Barry, by chance, do you have this to
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
share? So
Hey,
that you see it?
Shanika, hey, Deirdre.
Ladies,
Thank
Good
you for
evening.
coming.
good evening.
Thank you for coming to, wherever we were this morning, that I don't remember now.
Oh,
City Council.
The land use,
Tamika,
Yes.
the land use meeting. No, thank you. You spoke so well and you said everything that needed to be said. It was really an honor to speak after you. I was like, what do I say now? So thank you
I
very
did
much for
not
always showing
say-
up for us.
I did not say everything that needed to be said, because I could only speak for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
No, you were
that
really good though.
was- Well, there was a lot that needed to be said that didn't get said. What am I looking for? The Zoom link for this. Where is the Zoom?
Oh.
I thought you were sharing.
I
Yes,
am, but
yes,
in order to
working
share,
on
I must be on the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Pat, you have your hand up for some reason? Oh, is that the cursor? Hand?
No,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't have
yeah.
my hand up. No.
yeah, sorry,
Okay,
it's just
sorry.
the mouse.
There we go.
Host has disabled screen sharing. Well, I can fix that.
Oh, wow.
That was quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things when we met with, Senator Clear and some of the people from Interfaith, a lot of them weren't aware of the community benefits agreement. So they were fine with just saying, scrap it all. I'm like, hold on. Let's build on what we have. We have 40 undergrad scholarships. Let's make it 60. We have 20 million in affordable housing fund. Let's make it 60 or 80. You can't build it, 20.
Yeah.
Let's just build on what we have. Now, just say,
Right.
so they kind of came around, Charlie Rangel came on and called, and it came on, he started to say, well, could be heading in the right direction. So I think we've shifted the narrative a little bit.
Great.
So they're accepting of
That's
that.
very good, Victor. Yeah. And it needs, we need to let the community know that, even our community board, maybe, because, you know, the board is doing a lot, you're meeting with all these people, it just needs to be known by our
You know what?
public.
Why don't?
Certain ones, maybe organizations, community organizations, and they get the word out, and then they become a voice on our community
Be
partners.
supportive, yeah.
Too much they don't know.
I put the link in the chat so that rather than trying to squint at my shared screen, you can also open it on your own. But the kind of meat of it is in our therefore be it resolved.
I think start at number 3 of.
And we were at, getting the school that we were promised, which really, again, would be for the Columbia Secondary School for Math, Science and Engineering, which is affiliated with Columbia, so like,
Was the location a problem?
Bloomberg was the problem.
So what happened
Where would they put
to?
it?
Right, on 125th, where the McDonald's was.
Ah,
Bloomberg
okay,
said we
okay.
didn't need the seats in the building.
Who has ever turned down free Manhattan real estate?
Bloomberg.
Yeah, well, I guess to him, not that special.
No.
Wow.
But when he was mayor, the deal, he turned it down.
And so we totally lost that because there's another building.
Well, but it turns out that they turned it down before the agreement was signed, which arguably means they still owe us something. Because it hasn't been turned down since this agreement was signed.
So what happened to the school, well, that location's too small on, Convent?
Too small.
Yeah, I know it's too small.
It's too small for the school that's in there.
Is it too small for the daycare center?
Oh, no, that'd be,
That was the little grammar school.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
A daycare center, then find another location for whatever. they're-
we need a school building.
Yeah.
The
The location, I.
Even though when I went to that school.
we want the Fairway Building to be leased as an affordable supermarket with the parking lot open to both supermarket patrons for free and to the community at affordable rates.
Mhm.
Oh.
The creation and preservation of affordable housing units for non-affiliates, meaning people not affiliated with Columbia, in rent-regulated buildings purchased by Columbia and in new buildings developed by Columbia. This is echoing what, Morningside Heights Community Coalition, we passed some resolutions on that a couple of years ago. Improvement in local hiring initiatives on construction and permanent jobs with apprenticeship programs when necessary to qualify for union positions. Continued outreach and investment in community health initiatives, including free dental programs, diabetes, asthma, stroke intervention, mental health and social work concerns, collaboration to restore youth enrichment programming to the former site of our Children's Foundation, more focused engagement and clinical experience for graduate students in schools such as Columbia Law, School of Social Work, and other schools in the model of ABCS and the Netter Center. ABCS is something community schools. What is ABCS?
Barry, may I ask a question, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, first, let me make a comment. At the beginning, it needs to be updated to reflect the new president, because it says here Manu Shafiq, and we should update it to the Katrina Armstrong, who is the new president of Columbia.
Where is she at?
She's in,
Yeah, where it says there it be resolved. That's one thing, but I have a
Oh,
question about the building at Our Children's Foundation. I remember that, I think the gentleman's name was Mr. Brown, who had owned that
Yes, it
building,
was.
but he
Yes.
since passed away, am I
No.
right?
he,
Oh, no.
he didn't, yes, he has passed away. I went to
Right,
his
right, I thought
services.
so, yeah.
But
Who owns the
But
building
he did
now?
not own the building. Our Children's Foundation, the nonprofit, owned the building. So
Okay.
Mr. Brown could not sell it for Mr. Brown. The
Okay.
money-
Uh-huh.
It's 3 stories, right, or is it? 4?
Yeah, and it's a beautiful
Yeah,
facility.
Yeah, it is, it is. I was just wondering who owned it, that's all.
That's a great idea. Well, I don't know what you're suggesting, Pat, but it sounds like it's gonna be a good one, so.
No, that's my only question. I just wanted to know, because I know that at one point they were interested in selling the building, but then that was while he was alive, and now since he's not, I just wondering, while we're talking about programming at Our Children's Foundation, and you're right, that is a beautiful building. I had a chance to tour it. I'm just wondering who owns it, and maybe is that person or whoever open to doing things to help have some active programs in that building?
It is owned by the nonprofit corporation, Our Children's Foundation,
Okay,
which, while it appears to have ceased activities, is still a corporation with real estate that must be used for the public good.
okay,
Right
thank you.
So you got some power to put the hand on that.
Well, the AG would if they ever did anything helpful to the community.
I thought they were gonna put some more
So
children
they're
or
doing
youth programming in.
now?
What's that, Deirdre?
I thought at one point in time we were talking about, having them put youth programming in the building.
Which is what it was built for, yeah, but the person we were trying to have that conversation with has since passed. And
Right.
so it's unclear what's happening with the nonprofit, so we need to engage on that.
But that
Yeah.
could be,
Um,
that could be something under, number 3, Department of Education.
Well, it's its own separate line item, right? I don't think we want that to be the school. clinical work for the students, continued support for an affordable daycare center in the model of Red Balloon Daycare that accepts ACS vouchers, is open to non-Columbia affiliates, and has a model that supports the needs of working class and low-income parents of children, including children with special needs. Engagement with senior and older residents of Community District 9, including the opportunity to audit classes and partake of existing programming opportunities at the university, built out permanent artists and arts organization space as included in the CBA and in our reso. Collaboration on strengthening the community's environmental resiliency, including renewable energy, grid resiliency, stormwater drainage, retention, and wastewater treatment. Partnership in addressing hunger. Continued investment in support of our small businesses, minority and women-owned businesses and enterprises. To things like the Business Development Center, business school incubators, support community-based nonprofits and organizations through services like grant writing, developmental assistance, networking, and access to technical resources. Space for a community garden on lot 7 of block 1987, which has been an ongoing conversation with them. To replace the community garden that was lost 2 years ago on 134th. Naomi,
We came to our community.
Yeah.
Meeting a couple of times, right?
Yeah. Naomi Velez.
Do you know how large that is? We don't have a lot,
Well, so it's a very big lot. But it's one of the garages on the south side of 134th Street in Amsterdam. But it's kind of shaped like Oklahoma in that there's like a there's a big square and then there's a little panhandle that sits over here. And we have suggested that the panhandle be carved off and made a community garden. And they're like, yeah, that makes sense.
George Freeland from City College of New York came to us, we did the community envisioning, in August, or was it July? It was in July. To speak about urban farming. And they're looking at a therapeutic kitchen and all of that. Now, not that the therapeutic kitchen would be there, but I'm wondering, we don't really, to my understanding, our district have, say, an urban farm like Harlem Grove has over in CB10. I'm wondering if this could be a suggestion. I don't recall seeing the space. You say it's large.
All right, can I just be 100% with you, Laquita, from my personal opinion?
Mm-hmm.
We live in Manhattan. We live in some of the most expensive real estate in the world. The value per square foot produced by agriculture is not enough to justify the use of that land for things that could otherwise be occupied by housing or businesses. It's just, there is a reason.
Do a garden, that's what I'm saying.
No, and we have gardening. No, we have.
I'm not talking about garden, urban farming.
No, that's what I'm talking about, urban farming. And so, and we had this discussion with City of Yes for Economic Opportunity, where they're like, well, we want to enable indoor urban farming. I'm like, okay, but the rents that a business pays in Manhattan would mean that you must be producing exceptionally valuable agricultural products in order to pay your rent. Which, unless you are growing cocaine or marijuana, like, what are you growing that's worth that much? And they're like, well, you could, maybe they're supplying restaurants and they want to grow the perfect tomatoes. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you're not paying the rent on Manhattan real estate with tomatoes. You're not, right? Like,
This is gonna happen, this is the city, this is not where you know.
well, and it's not Detroit where like the buildings, they're paying people to tear down the buildings because no one will live in them. We've got like a vacancy rate of 1.5%, like.
Live in Manhattan, they live in a garage.
Right.
Well, that's what they're talking about, roofing and,
Oh, no, all of the roof, stuff on roofs, great, which is what we did support in the other City of Yes, the environmental one. Climate and environmental, whatever. But like, no, we don't, like, unless you're growing marijuana, what is producing the dollar per square foot you need to pay that rent?
well, I don't know. I'll figure out.
And it's best, and the
How
other needs
sustainable
that the city
communities
may, that
have.
Manhattan may need, cause you're not paying any taxes for that, enough taxes for it.
I mean, everything doesn't have to be concrete.
No, it doesn't. But like, which is, so community garden. the gardens that we have at Riverbank, which are food gardens mostly, but it's a park. It's not rented out, it's not a business
And it's
proposition.
not down on the retail area either, it's up above, it's not with the
Right,
retail.
it's above a wastewater treatment plant. Like, it's creative reuse of otherwise negative space.
Right.
Where were we? So support for local schools and the moderate and Edison centers, university assisted community schools and youth organizations. ABCS, by the way, is academically, what did I just say it was? Academically based community services. So,
Oh, that's what they see.
right, like maybe a business school class wants to do academic work on what helps make local businesses successful and thrive, and so they work with local businesses to help them either access wider markets or get more specialized training or whatever.
Say that it is academic business.
Academically based community service. You know, it's that you've got a lot of like people with PhDs in very specialized skills and skill sets. So rather than have them volunteer to pick up trash one day a year, maybe instead have them volunteer to put those skills to use on a more consistent long-term basis.
What number was that?
That was number 20.
Gotcha. Okay.
21, we want our board offices, which are in the CBA. Board
Anytime
offices
soon would be nice.
with more than one pane of glass if we're gonna be next to a subway line.
Sounds good.
And in a room that can fit 50+ people, so we can have our general board meeting in our own offices.
Maybe,
Like it
you know,
used to
just
be.
like at Old
Hello.
Broadway at the corner, 125th and Old Broadway.
I
The
don't know who
laundromat.
owns that building, the building that used to have Washington.
There's a medical
right
center
at
there,
the
right?
corner.
You mean
Yeah.
the one
What
story?
happened to that building?
That is owned by Columbia, and the people in these buildings, like this building and the ones next to it,
Right,
there will be a building built on the side of that laundromat. The people who live here will move there. This building will be torn down and developed.
the one at Old Broadway and 125th?
No, this, you're right, this.
Well, I mean, yeah, the one-story laundromat will be torn down. It'll be made into an apartment building. They're gonna move folks from Broadway
Oh,
here
yeah.
over to there and then tear down these buildings. It's a long-term
We ain't never
plan.
gonna have an office at that rate.
Nope. But
So what,
Yeah.
right now, the way things are, is there something that has been suggested, a location suggested?
they're supposed to give us space in one of these confangled buildings that they're building.
One of these
Right.
three.
I forget what the phase is, but it's in the plan,
Oh, yeah?
because it's phased. And so the next building that gets built, for example, as soon as that building gets its temporary certificate of occupancy, they're on the hook for providing us the art space. And so we're like, well, since
500 square feet, right?
5,000,
Oh, 500.
and so.
500.
Yeah, so we're like, well, since it's the next building, why don't we talk about it now and make sure we have a good plan? So that the next building doesn't get built and then we don't go, hey, you owe us an art space, and they're like, oh, oops, we should talk about that for 2 years.
You know, that building is about to be.
Hmm.
Speaking of additional buildings, remember I had raised, the question of the building on 135th that Emma Bowen is moving into, and.
The old
I
HRA building.
remember you thought it wasn't a bad idea because they may very well. I don't know if this is for sale now. What's the name of it? It's
Next to the clinic.
one of the city agencies.
It used to be HRA, it used to be where you do the food stamps,
Right.
the IDNYC, Medicaid,
Over there.
and then they closed it.
That's
Like a little bit in from Broadway, a little bit east of Broadway, on the south side of the street.
It's the same.
You've got the pediatrics place right in the old theater, you know, pediatrics 3000.
Yeah.
And then the next thing, you've got the, Charlie Wrangle Health
Yes.
Center.
Okay, I know where we are.
And then next to the health center is that big,
Yeah,
yeah,
I know where.
Huge building.
Yeah.
I haven't been there lately.
well, but we also already passed a letter of support for that school that wanted to move there.
Oh, that's happened since the.
Yeah, the one that's getting, it's a charter school that's getting pushed out of the building. What is the school? I can't remember the number. It's just south of Manhattanville Houses on Amsterdam, between Amsterdam and Old Broadway. The school.
Okay,
Across from the pool, public pool,
Manhattanville.
you know where the pool is. It's the thing with water. in it.
It's across from, the Manhattan Little Business District. Yeah, it's across from.
Yeah, but the school is on that block.
Yeah, the schools that used to be the junior high school.
Because,
Yeah.
3 schools there.
because Ava Moskowitz Charter School is co-located and they want the whole building. So Urban Assembly School for the Performing Arts is who we gave the letter to. The school is,
So that was recently that, it's so many things.
Yeah.
Okay, cause I remember mentioning it end of last year, something like that, in a strategic plan.
yeah,
Yes.
I didn't realize it, so I should know someone else looking at.
what is the name of
Great
the school?
location, use site.
You had the rest.
Oh.
It's more stories.
Oh, no, listen to what?
Yeah, performing arts. I visited with, Deidre and Shanika. They did great work there, but they need space.
And the,
Well,
and the,
yeah, but we didn't know that at the time, that it was one of the strategic planning meetings that I went to, and I thought about that.
I forget what the number of the school
Yeah,
was. It was like MSIS something.
Okay. It's a great location.
Anywho, it's on 130th Street in Amsterdam, or no, 129th in
One
Amsterdam.
twenty-nine in Amsterdam, yeah. Across from the.
I think Michael Wells' kids went there.
Really?
Yeah. HDFC, resources for HDFCs and homeowners in landmark buildings or historic districts, possibly as architectural clinics from the Graduate School of Architectural Planning and Preservation or Columbia Law School. Further be it resolved, grateful for continued progress and strengthening our relationship with the university, look forward to doing it in the future.
And so, Senator Claire liked everything that, how were they withdrawing their?
For a long time, we were the only people who actually turned in our homework, which was this list. I think others eventually put in everything. So now they're amalgamating all of these things into what we're asking the university for.
But Senator Claire has withdrawn her, I guess.
She has not withdrawn the proposal, but it, for the moment, is idle.
So,
I'm too old for this.
but she's listening, so.
Well, and it's helpful because she's gotten an enormous number of stakeholders in a room to talk about a problem that we all share.
That's what I heard, she was pretty.
Whether we're all always agreed on what direction we should be headed, but it's a conversation that needed to, it's a hornet's nest that needed to be kicked.
Yeah, cause everybody was kind of quiet, and all of a sudden at that meeting, it's like, whoa, the main meeting and all of this.
Do we wish we'd been invited on day one? Yeah.
Or at least day 2, yeah.
But we got it. It's process. So, thoughts on sending this to the general board meeting?
Yes, with the,
Yeah, correct.
adjustment with, made by Pat.
Are there any other things we need to incorporate? We got small businesses, we got seniors, we got youth, we got schools, we got housing,
Climate, health.
preservation, transportation, economic development, nonprofits.
Somebody's calling.
Yes,
Yeah, this is a very good reso, so you wrote it very well.
well, thank you to everyone who contributed. Shanika and Deirdre sent in quite a lot.
To everyone, you all did a great job.
Yes. Well, but also, almost none of these should be new, right? Like, we passed resolutions on more than half of these as separate things.
Because I don't know that Cal put in anything else.
I don't know, I mean, maybe I just wanna speak up because Kathleen is here. This is someone who my company will be doing, delayed catering. The protest, the closing of the university due to, when there were protests at a certain period in universities.
Which
We're doing
university?
all, the Columbia and City
Oh, yeah,
College,
yeah.
we're doing off-campus instruction. And I don't know if it means anything, but I just want to speak up for the business owners near Columbia University, near City College. It served to devastate a lot of our businesses when there wasn't when Columbia didn't have the commencement. Kathleen knows that her catering job for my restaurant was supposed to take place in May. And they postponed it, now it's October, and fortunately, that will move forward. But just from my service providers, I've heard that a number, at least of restaurants, have gone out of business because we really do rely on the population. I don't know if there's been any discussion about that, so I'd just like to speak up and say, I'm in a situation with West Harlem, unable to pay my rent, and we are, I know from a pizza place a couple of doors down from my store, they were not able to pay their Con Ed bill for months. The protests didn't affect us for the month of May. This went on for months. People stopped coming to our locations because they thought it was a little bit too chaotic. So I just want to speak up. I don't know if it means anything to anyone, but
No,
let my voice be heard.
That's economic development, that means a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Ms. Dunn is one of the co-chairs of the Economic Development Committee, in case
Right.
you did not know, so.
You could
And I'm about the money.
possibly
Yeah.
attend one of her meetings and speak at length about
The
this.
first Tuesday in October.
Okay.
Liquidity, you have her contact, and send her, yeah, send her the information.
I have your email also, maybe I can send the calendar.
Just put in October, what's it, October the 3rd, what's the first Tuesday?
And it's in right at this
I
location,
think
right?
it's the,
Just look on the map, is it October the 3rd, why I
it's
think
the first.
it's October 1st? First Tuesday in October, October the 1st, right here, 6:30 p.m. That's it. Because it's very important what you're saying, I hadn't really thought about it, but the colleges, the businesses surrounding it, that the kids will go to have.
And they're all small
Yeah.
businesses. And they're the first ones that, get really impacted by the landlord wants,
They don't
Their
want to
money.
hear it, they don't want to hear it,
Their money.
and, the fact that I personally think the protest, the camping out at the universities could have been held in a different way. It really kept the community from coming through
Oh, yeah,
these areas, and,
including me.
yeah.
Oh, Lord. I live there. No, but it's very much so, very much. So. Yeah, okay.
I think you covered quite a bit, Barry, this, result to go to general board. I am in favor of that.
All right, anyone else? We'll take a vote. For any of the members here in person or virtually.
Can we take a unanimous vote on this?
Member Dunn has requested unanimous consent. Is there a second?
Second,
we need to add with modification.
With the modification of changing the president's name.
Okay. Favor.
Yep, I think we've had a unanimous consent requested. Does anyone object? Going once, going twice. All right, we will send it to you for ASAP for inclusion in the packet for Thursday.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's the action item. Is there any old business? New business? Is there any new business besides the budget stuff?
I don't know if this is, I know it would involve health and, uniform services, but there have been a lot of complaints about 911, but I don't know if that would come into this committee. But people have been calling, about delay for 911 delayed, response, no answer, the phone's just ringing. I saw a man, who had fallen on the east side just, Friday. And he was bleeding. I thought he had a head wound, but they said it was nose. It was a lot of people gathered around. Several of us called 911. I actually talked to someone, but I was there 15 minutes, 20 minutes, no ambulance. And I eventually left because there was a
On the
woman.
east side?
It
Oh,
was,
thank God it's hospital.
it was, Lexington and. Across.
You could throw a rock and probably hit 5 hospitals, right? Like,
It was Lexington, definitely Lexington, what was the cross? Right now, I'm not thinking of,
80s, 90s, 100s?
yeah, it was the, I think it was 89. That's where the
Okay, so you
animal
got
shelter-
Cornell Wild,
Same-
you got,
same ones that
you
were
got,
there.
you got Mount Sinai.
But he was like, the way his legs were, he was like flat, no one wanted to move him.
Right, without an ambulance, yeah, I would not want anyone to.
Some,
Yeah.
clothes. Anyway, cops came who were in an unidentified,
Plainclothes.
right. And they stopped and asked questions and then drove on. I don't know if they called anyone or not. But I was shocked. I was shocked.
Well, that should definitely be
But anyway,
something.
all of us, we need to
It
just.
kind of falls between your committee and uniform services, I would say.
We could probably jointly do something.
Yeah.
But that's a real concern.
But what's happening with the community board in that area? What are they saying
Oh,
about it?
this was Friday, I didn't even, I don't
You
know.
understand what I understand?
People don't always think, about the community board necessarily.
People don't generally think about the
In
community board, but
2020
somebody should know about that. A bigger incident as you're talking about.
So in 2020, the average, and 2020 was a weird year for ambulances in New York City because they were working all the time. In 2020, the average response time was 10 minutes, 56 seconds. In 2024, it was 15 minutes and 23 seconds.
Wow.
It's gone up by 50%.
So yeah,
in
less
2020.
so less of them is on the road. They're not.
and this is
I don't know,
response-
you're
Thinking
sure
that the
staff-
staff more calls.
This is crime in progress 911 calls, but,
Alright, well,
but I think that I would assume
and
ambulances.
that man
also.
stayed in that one position, the entire, blood was dead, just run out, spilled out.
Oh,
And this other woman, I guess she was taking control, and he's not gonna bleed out.
but Laquita, if you'd like to write this into our district needs statement, they publish, the EMS, FDNY and NYPD response times. And you can add in a bunch of different time periods on the web, look at that.
Okay,
So maybe you wanna write the numbers up as part of our district needs.
well, it's longer now, we said
Well,
10 minutes.
are
and-
we in this area suffering the same length of time?
Now, on the CB9 Connects, I'm not sure if I think
That's
theirs
what I
have
wanted to
to. I know Monica had a problem with, she called 911. No, I think she said she called 988 also.
More
In
than
this
once.
district, so it is.
988 is the mental health.
Mental health,
She
right.
did call and she said, I don't, it took a long time.
Took a long time.
They didn't show up. That was a.
So I called 911 when the guy was in my hallway blocking the entrance there, and I looked out, said, the baby looked like, oh no, so I said, okay, I went inside and called the police. And in less than half an hour, they were there, and he was gone.
But was that housing authority
No,
or?
I called the 2-6. Well, I called 911, I didn't even call the 2-6, I called 911, whatever.
Chance of, shooting unnecessary.
What is it called now? It's not housing authority police, it's the
It is.
PSA, public sector, sector something. They come to all the meetings at the TA.
Mhm.
All I know is that I cannot say I did not get a fast response. They were there, they moved him, he was gone.
Did he live in the building?
Well, his mother's the problem, but that's another conversation.
Oh, so he has a connection to.
I mean, because I know a lot of people were sleeping on the roof. In
And
Manhattan.
in this case,
On the roof?
the mother,
Natural housing.
the grandmother will not allow him in the apartment. The mother takes care of the grandmother, and it's her son, and she wants to don't want him to be hungry, and she'll wash his, well, he can't go in the apartment. So he's in the
I'm
hallway.
afraid of what he might do.
Come get him out of there.
Anyway.
And that's why we don't mess with this stuff.
Actually, response times apparently have gone up,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, this is crazy. I mean, you literally.
So something to be taken up by uniform services and health.
Yeah, I just wrote, I wrote down,
We can get some numbers so we can pull up.
But see, the complaint I just heard, look. A lot of the problem is with Manhattan No Houses Resident Association itself.
What residents?
No, we're talking about police response.
I'm talking about the.
If I
police.
call 911 or someone in Manhattan will call 911, it has nothing to do with the tenant association.
No, I'm
Just to be
saying,
clear.
no, 911 comes, I understand what you're saying. I'm also saying that a part of the problem is what the association is doing. That forget about it.
Or not
Don't
doing.
worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I won't.
Okay, leave it alone. But they did come and they came very fast and they took care of the problem.
Okay, so from August 2019 to now, this is the trend line.
Okay,
August 2019
Yeah,
So it's
to
gone up.
now.
it's gone up a lot.
A lot.
This is just for EMS though.
And
Okay.
I doubt if anyone
Hi,
has.
this is,
Barry.
Oh, hi Edwin, I hear Edwin.
Hi.
There he is.
Can may I say something about this topic?
I agree.
Hey, everyone.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. So we had an
Hi.
incident here at 476 on Saturday where the fire alarm was going off for about 15 minutes. The tenants in the building were very concerned. We have elderly. I think that our oldest person is Ms. Robinson. She said she has to be 90 plus. And we were calling 911. I myself called 911 17 times. I have tenants who send me their screenshot where they call 911 22 times and couldn't get anyone to answer. Thankfully, nothing happened, but this is extremely concerning for various reasons. I'm picturing many scenarios where someone could be calling 911 for anything, whether you are an elderly who's 90 years old and had a fall in your house and you're calling 911 and nobody's answering, from a false alarm of a fire alarm going off. And thankfully it was a false alarm and it was not a true fire. But time is of the essence when folks are calling 911. And I have a screenshot. I will be writing a letter to all our electeds and sending it to the community board also. But I think that this is a response time. The other one doesn't even get collected. It's the calls that are not even going through 911. That is scary.
That is scary.
Yeah.
No, meaning they're just not getting answered.
Just not getting answered, period. And then one of our residents received a call a few minutes later saying, do you call 911? Now, picture whatever scenario you want in your head, and you're trying to get 911 on the call, and this situation happens.
Nope. So I would recommend taking this up with Uniform Service and Transportation and Health and Environment. And then I think we will include this as part of our district needs and budget priorities.
Is DOH also the, does it have a monitoring responsibility that you know of, Edwin? DOHMH somewhere in there?
Yeah, and I will send a screenshot because what they will come back to us is with these data points, but this is reflecting the calls that got through. Those that didn't get through and were not answered, I'm not sure those are being recorded unless if you have the resident sending them to it, like myself, that I will be sending to the community board, the screenshot. But this is the problem.
Yep.
Wow.
Is there any other new business?
I have something to say. I don't consider it business, but you all mentioned the Wrangle Center, which made me think. I don't know if everyone was aware. I received word that Mrs. Alma Wrangle passed away today. And she's the wife of, a former Congresswoman, Charles Rangel. Yeah. So I just wanted, I'm sure there'll be more information, but you all mentioned the Rangel Center. It made me think about it. So that's not an official part of our meeting, but I just wanted to let you all know, so we could keep the Rangel family.
Yeah, recognize that.
Yeah, in our prayers, we could say prayers for the family and everything.
They
Definitely.
were like
Charlie was
70
very
years.
active.
Yeah, the last call, she was in the room with him. She
Yeah.
said, I have to go because I have to take care of my wife.
Yeah.
And Al was like 90.
Well, Charlie himself is 90 something.
Yeah, she's older.
Over
Right, she's 98 or 99. Bless her heart. So it said, yeah, to be recognized. Thanks for
Yeah,
that.
we should thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Charlie's 94.
there. Thanks. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know
Nice,
that.
yes, she was about 98.
So on Sunday. He said
Yeah, he was
Thursday.
there Sunday, right? He was there Sunday.
Okay.
Where?
Oh, at the parade breakfast, yes.
Oh, yeah, the parade.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, if there's no other new business, I was there, Pat Moore was there, although he's not on the board anymore, Pat was there.
Oh, good.
Is there any other new business? If not, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 8:13.
Just one closing statement to all co-chairs. We need representation from each committee at these meetings so we can get the information back. I see co-chairs on, but in addition to yourself, maybe somebody from your committee can come and absorb some of this.
Okay.
Just a note.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies. Edwin, thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Get home safe.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. Thank you,
Good
Chair.
night.
Good night.
Mhm.
Thank you, Barry.
Oh,
Night.
oh.
Where's the, oh, they changed the button.
Oh.